Today, I'm going to be telling you all about the good, bad, and the ugly about living in Dallas-Fort Worth. Hello, I'm Mandy.Linthicum, realtor with JP and Associate Realtors. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you are looking to find out everything there is to know about DFW, from things to do, places to go, where to live, things to eat, and everything in between, you've come to the right place. So go ahead, click that subscribe button below so you know every time I drop a new video about Dallas-Fort Worth. I have lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for my entire life, and Fort Worth is definitely one of my very favorite cities in the whole area. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns all the time. So today I'm going to tell you my top pros and my top cons about living in Fort Worth, Texas. So let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna share the cons first because I like to finish with happy thoughts, and I wanna say my very favorite thing for last, so make sure you stay tuned. So, starting with number one, my first con on the list is our Texas weather. Now, I guess this could really be considered a pro or a con because it's gonna depend on what you generally like. Do you like hot weather? Are you used to cold weather? For me, I like hot weather, and that's probably because I've lived here for so long. My body's just used to it. But Texas in general, it's going to be extremely hot. Like 9 months out of the year, you're gonna be in a tank top and shorts. Our summers on average are right around 97 degrees. And then when you get into July and August, it's pretty much all hundreds for a while. I remember one year we literally had over 100 days of over 100-degree weather. But with all of that being said, with more hot days means more time to enjoy the pool and the lakes and all the fun water activities that we have here in Texas. The other thing about our weather is that we here in Dallas-Fort Worth sit right on the edge of something called Tornado Alley. So you have to take into account that at some point during the spring months, you are going to most likely encounter a tornado threat of some sort. Our falls and our winters are typically pretty mild. Now, it's supposed to get cold around December, and then January through March are normally our coldest months of the year. Now, this past year, Christmas 2020, 2 days after Christmas, we were outside in 70-degree weather enjoying the sunshine. So if that gives you any idea of how funny our Texas weather is, we typically don't see much snow. If we're lucky, maybe 1 or 2 days a year. We will see ice at some point. And it's kind of funny because if there is ice or even a mention of ice, you can count on the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex pretty much shutting down. Like the schools will shut down, work will shut down, everybody's working from home, and it's just rule of thumb. Texans should not and cannot drive on ice. Which leads me to con number 2, transportation. Now, Texans have a need for speed, and the right lane means go fast, and the left lane means go faster. In addition to that, our area here in Dallas-Fort Worth has grown significantly over the last 10 years, which has also led to us needing bigger roads and more space. So you're definitely going to see toll roads. They have popped up everywhere. There's going to be traffic at all hours of the day. It doesn't matter if you think you're in rush hour at 7 a.m. or you are headed someplace at 1 p.m., you're probably going to hit traffic at some point. Also, frequent construction. It's all over the Metroplex, and it's really just growth. We have grown so much that we really need bigger freeways and more space to drive on. So you will run into construction pretty much anywhere between Dallas and Fort Worth. And since DFW is made up of 13 counties, we're huge. Most people do have their own vehicles. Pretty much anywhere you're gonna go is gonna take roughly anywhere from 10 to 20, 30 minutes. So transportation is very important. Fort Worth does have their own transportation system called the Trinity Metro, but unfortunately it's rated a 21 out of 100, and it's just not as efficient as I think they probably hoped when they put it together. So if you're moving here and you're coming from someplace that typically does subways or taxis, that's probably not going to be much of an option here. We do have Uber, but that's going to add up pretty quickly. So you will want to have a vehicle of some sort of your own. So the third and last con that I want to share with you on this video is something that so many people I know here in Dallas-Fort Worth are plagued with, including myself, and that's our allergies. And I like to joke that I don't have just one allergy. I'm allergic to Texas as a whole during the spring and the fall. Dallas-Fort Worth is actually rated the 17th metropolitan city in the nation with the worst pollen count and allergies. But in reality, it's not our fault, I guess you would say. So our allergies actually stem from wind patterns that we get from Central Texas. So places like San Antonio and Austin, if I remember right, they are rated in like the top 5 or 10 worst allergies, and they've got cedar and mountain cedar and pollens and all kinds of things. And because of the way the wind is and because of our flat land here in DFW, those wind patterns come up to North Texas and plague us all with this horrible allergy season. So take that into account. If you already have allergies, you're maybe possibly gonna have them here too. If you have any questions on the cons that I just went over or any other concerns, feel free to shoot me an email. My contact info is linked below, and I'll be more than happy to go through that with you directly. Now that we've gotten all the negatives out of the way, let's jump right into why so many people are moving to Fort Worth and love calling Fort Worth home. For every negative, I can tell you about 5 reasons why Fort Worth is one of my favorite cities in the nation, and I love calling Fort Worth my home. Number 1 is job opportunities. Now, Fort Worth is considered the 4th strongest job market in America. We are home to many Fortune 500 companies with a major focus on industries like oil and gas, manufacturing, aviation, aerospace, and a median income around $60,000. The second awesome thing about Fort Worth is the affordable cost of living. Now, our real estate market is considered one of the most affordable markets in the state of Texas. Plus, it's extremely diverse in the sense that you can literally find the median home price anywhere from about $250,000 to $400,000. It just depends on the area, and you have so many options from condos to townhouses. There's tons of new construction opportunities, ranch style, farmhouse style, single family, land. There really is something for everyone in Fort Worth. Now, with that being said, a question I get a lot following questions about cost of living is, how are the schools in Fort Worth? How is Fort Worth ISD? Like any large metropolitan city, Fort Worth ISD is a huge district, and it has some extremely low-rated schools as well as some really high-rated schools. So I tell all of my clients to be sure and do your research if school district is a priority in your home search. The great thing about Fort Worth, though, is if public school might not be right for you, there are so many options for private school, there's charter schools, and there's a huge homeschool community in Fort Worth. So you definitely have a lot of options available to you and your family. I promised you guys I was gonna save my favorite thing about Fort Worth for last, the best for last, and here we are. So, my favorite thing about Fort Worth, Texas is the abundance and things to do and attractions to see. With coffee shops with an urban vibe down on Magnolia Street, to the trendy nightlife on West 7th Street, to the endless amount of family activities that there are all over across Fort Worth, there's literally something for everyone. Because there is so much to do, and for the sake of not making this video an hour long, I'm gonna narrow it down to 3 of my very favorite things here in Fort Worth. Number 1 is the Fort Worth Stockyards. I feel like whether you're visiting or you've lived here your whole life like I have, the Fort Worth Stockyards needs to be at the top of your list, and it needs to be something you do at least every other month. It's just that awesome. When you envision Texas, especially from out of state, I think that you most likely probably envision something similar to the Stockyards. This area is overflowing with cowboy culture and Southern charm, with daily herd cattle drives, gun show fights, a year-round rodeo, tons of awesome dining and Western boutiques, and the historic Billy Bob's Over Texas dance and music venue. This unique and incredible area is literally the best place both for family as well as date nights. Number 2 on my list is the Cultural District. And this area is located just a few miles from downtown, and it's literally flooded with museums. The Will Rogers Memorial Center, the Dickies Arena, Casa Manana. If you have young to school age kiddos like I do, you will love the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. It's such a game changer. Then just a short drive away, you can also explore the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens. There's the Fort Worth Zoo, which I personally think is one of the greatest zoos in the country. I've been to several, including San Diego and Dallas and several others, and I love Fort Worth. And the other thing on my list is also the Montgomery Street Antique Mall. I don't know if you like antiques, but I really do, and they have the cutest little tea room inside. So that's just a fun little side adventure if you like that sort of thing. Number 3, since this is Texas and it is hot nearly 3/4 of the year, I would be crazy not to share with you the awesome nature trails, lakes, parks, and outdoor adventures that we have right here in Fort Worth. So just to name a few, the Trinity Park is in the heart of Fort Worth and has miles and miles of jogging trails, along with a huge playground for the kiddos. And then there's also the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge, and it's equipped with 20 miles of hiking trails, a wide variety of programs and classes each week. And also there's Burgers Lake, and this is just a summer tradition for many Fort Worth families. And this spring-fed lake is covered in sandy beaches, it has lifeguards, and tons of picnicking areas. Okay guys, that wraps up my video of pros and cons of living in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you have any other questions or even concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email is below. You're more than welcome to comment and I will connect with you. And if there's anything that I can do to help you with your Texas real estate needs, I'm more than happy to do so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please think about doing that. It helps me connect with other people just like you who are interested in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So until next time, guys, see you later.